Yeah, welcome to another tutorial. Now, based on what I told you in the class, I talked about resolution and measurement units in Corel Draw and any other graphic software. Now, let's try to open a new page. Remember, I mentioned it in the last tutorial that you click on new document to open a new page. As a result of that, this dialog box will show up. Now, you will see something called resolution here. This resolution is talking about the strength of your design. It's talking about how sharp and how blurry your design is. By default, several design or several system is on 300 resolution DP. What's resolution? The higher the resolution, the sharper the design you made, and the lower the resolution, the weaker it looks. It will look blurred when printing it or when used on anything, even either on the internet or used for printing. But by default is at 300 resolution. Now, you can reduce the resolution if you want, but you should have it at the back of your mind that the higher the resolution, the sharper it is. But does that mean that you should just increase the resolution anyhow? No. Why? Because even as you increase the resolution and your job is becoming more sharper, mind you, the size of the job is becoming more heavier. Imagine you do a job and at the end of the day, after doing the design, and it is up to 1 gig, we will be able to download it. We want to waste 1 gig for just a simple job when that job is not that much expensive. No. So it's not all about you just designing a job and making it very sharp by putting it into 1000 resolution. No. And you don't need to make it look blurry because you felt it is a small size. No. In fact, 300 resolution is one of the highest resolution you can put any job. It's not necessary it must be there. I can make my job 72 resolution. 72 resolution is one of the lowest resolution you can put any job. This resolution, as I have said, have to do with this weakness and the strength of your design. Mind you, it also have relationship with the height and the width. The measurement. Now, talking about the measurement, the units of every design, I mentioned several units. I mentioned inches, I mentioned millimeter, I mentioned centimeter, I mentioned meter, kilometer, and the likes. These are the measurement units that you can use. It's now meant for you to understand how to convert millimeter to centimeter. Well, basically, the smallest unit of any measurement is mm. That is why when you open your system, is the one you will see. It is the smallest unit and it is the most recognized unit all over the world. Because the unit, as small as it is, give you the opportunity to know the tiniest measurement. Unlike inches that is still a bit wide, in which if you see something that is smaller than an inch, you can see something that is smaller than an inch. But it is almost difficult for you to see something that is smaller than 1 mm, because mm is very small, and that is why it is well recognized all over the world. It's better you have mm and you have many mm for any job you mention. Now, this is mm. Check the width and the height of this A5. That is, A5 paper is 148 mm by 210 height. That's the normal size of A5. Every A5 you see, that's the size. Let me first click on it. Every A4 you see, A4, I'm looking for A4, okay. Every A4 you see is at 210 by 297 mm. So I can convert this mm on this system to inches. You can see that it has changed automatically. So system can help you convert it, but you too must understand how to convert some of them, not necessarily all of them, mind you. Why? Because a client can give you a measurement or a tape rule that you want to use to measure a job for a client may be in inches. So you need to understand that inches so that when you get to the system, you know how to interpret it there. Now let me choose centimeter. You will notice it's going to change here on the centimeter too. This is a centimeter of A4. If I choose feet, this is the feet of A4, conversion to feet. Now these are the things that you need to have in mind when you are designing, because measurement can put you into trouble, as I have said in the class yesterday. It can put you into a big trouble, so you need to be careful. So a situation whereby a client has sent you the measurement, make sure it is the accurate measurement you use, but there's still something around it too. If a client gives you a job like 15 cm by 16 cm, it's not bad if you add little cm to it. Why? So that when the printers, because there is a process of cutting that is being done by printers, so the cutout aspect of it will not affect the job when you add some little amount of cm or whatever measurement you are given to it. You want to design something that is given to you that have to do with 15 cm by 8 cm. If you add just 1 cm to make it 16 cm and 1 cm to make it 9 cm, it's not bad. There's no any reason, not as if you are increasing the size they gave you. It's just that you are giving the person who will be doing the printing, who will be doing the cutting, the opportunity to have some little cutout, because there's no how they will be cutting that there wouldn't be some waste out of what is being designed. So if you make it accurately the size that is needed, by the time they are doing the cutout, it would have reduced in size, and they may come back to you and start blaming you that you are the cost of it. Now, so for that reason, instead of doing things according to the size that they want to print, the advice is that you add little amounts to it. In fact, it may even be just half a cm, depending on how big cm is, how big small inches is, depending on the size. Mind you, this addition of measurement, it's only related to printing. There's no need of adding any addition to something that they are not printing, that they just want to use on the internet or on the screen of the system. In fact, that one must be accurate, very accurate, because a little bit shift will give a difference. So when I said adding to any measurement given to you, take note, it has to do with printing stuff. When it comes to things that are physical, that are online, you don't add anything to it. Now let me open this and let's see some things about measurement and resolution. Don't forget what I said about resolution, that it deals with have to do with the strength and the weakness of your design, that is how sharp and how blur it is. And I have also said it that the more sharper it is, the more heavier your job is, and it is never necessary you make your job so heavy and it will be difficult to download or difficult to use on the system. Also take note, when a job is very heavy, the process of printing it, the process of uploading it takes time. It consumes more data. So those are the things you need to consider. So when you see a designer, a good professional designer, they think beyond just designing on the system. There are several things around it that they must put into consideration. Now let's continue. Another thing I just want you to quickly understand about it is that a situation whereby you design, or let me wait for that. I will show you better when we open it. Remember Cmyk and an RGB, which I mentioned. This is it. Remember I said RGB is for anything that have to do with screen design, that have to do with screen. You are not printing it, but because I want to talk about something about printing and the likes and resolution, let me choose Cmyk and orientation, that is, do I want it landscape or do I want it portrait? Now let me choose landscape and I open. Okay, now here is the landscape of A4 paper. The A4 has been mentioned there. Now it is in feet. I don't want it in feet because I don't need feet to understand what I want to do. I want it in either inches or cm. inches or cm. I would want you to study how those measurements are. I would prefer you take a ruler and see how 1 inch is big, how big cm is, and how small, very small mm is. When you pick a normal ruler outside there, you will see it on it. They will mention it on it. This will help you to understand the measurement very well, because when you have it inside of you, that is what will make you help you to understand how it will look like on the system. Now, this is the surface. Don't forget, this surface is in inches and it is A4 and it is on 300 resolution. Take for instance, I want to design something on this. Let me import a picture. I want to quickly import a picture from my gallery. I want to import a picture. I'm looking for a picture, just don't mind me. One of those pictures that I have already. Let me just quickly pick one. Come on, don't waste my time. I have too much of picture, I don't even know which one to pick. Okay, let me pick this. Okay. Okay, let me pick this picture. I want to quickly use it for something else also. I drag it and place it on my Corel Draw. That's the picture. You will notice that this picture is bigger than my A4 based on the resolution and the size it was, so it is bigger than my A4, but I can reduce it. Now come down to this place where my cursor, the arrow is. You will see bitmap RGB on layer 1, 72 by 72 dpi. Now what this tells you is that this picture, it is created based on RGB. That is, it's not something, it's not, the ink used, the color used for composing this cloth is done with RGB colors. It is 72 dp, that is, the resolution of this picture is 72. Now what is the size of this picture, as in the height and the length? You will see that here, 13.33 height, 13.33 length, and 13.33 height. That's the size of this picture. I want you to take note of something. Now I want to reduce this picture to the surface, to the size of my A4. I hold on shift, I bring my cursor to this edge and I drag down. Now it is inside my A4. Control F4. It is inside my A4, though smaller. But come back to this place and check what has happened under the bitmap RGB. The bitmap RGB, which was formerly 72 dpi, is now 240 by 240 dpi. What that tells you is that because I reduced this picture from the normal size, which it was 13.33 inches before, it is now 4.06 inches. Because I reduce it, the dpi, which is the resolution, increased to 240. What tells you is that any design you do, any resolution you put it, you remember that this background is already in 300 resolution. Any resolution you put a design at first is the recognized resolution. Whenever that image or anything design you do is brought to any place and you reduce it, what happens is that the resolution will increase even while the size is reduced. What that tells you is that the quality of that design does not reduce. It is only the size that you reduced. The sharpness, how good that design is, does not reduce, even though when you are reducing the size the measurements. When you are reducing the measurement, remember we reduced the measurement of this. It was formerly 13.33. now it is 4.006. though the measurement reduced, but the resolution did not reduce. And for that to happen, as in the quality did not reduce, and for that to happen, the resolution needs to increase. The resolution increased from 72 to 240 dpi. If I reduce it again, it will increase the more. Why? Because the quality will still remain the same. It is only that the measurement is reducing. Let me show you that again. I reduce it again. Okay, now it is around 2.195 inches. You will notice the resolution is now 437. That tells you that the quality of this thing still maintains. Now, because of all what happened around it, the measurement and the resolution I put on this design when I created it, because I remember I was the one who created this design, this clothes and everything on it. I created it. It wasn't a real clothes. I created it. Now, if you come back to where I picked it, I want to check the actual size. The size of this polo was 257 kb. Based on what I created it then for. So, for the fact that I reduce it here in the Corel Draw does not mean that it has reduced its size, its weight, its heaviness, but the size on the system reduced, but the quality does not reduce. Undo. I've returned it to the 13.33 inches which it was. Let me assume I want to increase it. You will realize that something will happen to the resolution. It will reduce also. I increase this again to make it more big. Okay, now it is at 73.656 inches. What happened to the resolution? It is at 13 dpi. That's too poor. Now, one thing you understand about printing and design is that when the resolution is very low, the quality reduces. If this picture, which is at 13.33 inches, is taken out to be printed on something that is as big as 73 inches, the quality it will come out with would not be as good as it was. And assuming it is reduced to the way I did it first, it is reduced to something like this, the quality will be higher because it is trying to maintain what has been fixed in it. That's exactly what resolution and measurements is all about. Now,